This is the Detroit Sports Podcast Network.
The biggest icon in podcasting.
Welcome in, everyone, to this week's edition of the DocNJock Wrestling Podcast. I am your host, Adam the Jock Straczynski, and I am coming to you live from the COVID compound, aka the COVID castle. Everybody in the house is sick with the summertime COVID flu. Life is grand, which is just in time for SummerSlam. Everything's going to be great. This is your SummerSlam Go Home podcast, helping me break it all down, sort it all out, pick these wonderful matches that we've got. He's the one. He's the only. He is the Doc, John Macaroon. What's up, cuz?
I'm still excited to be broadcasting with the nasally Adam Straczynski. It's all good. Listen, man, it's one of those deals where those germs, they get you, but it won't prevent us from getting after it. This broadcast dedicated to the memory of the immortal Hulk Hogan. We didn't broadcast last week. Things with the schedule got crazy, but in the end, we're going to talk about it. One of the greats in the history of wrestling. It was great to see all the tributes. And we're going to talk about Hulk Hogan. We're not talking about Terry Bollea because we didn't know him. We know things that people have reported on him. We don't know the man. We just want to talk about the entertainer that made our childhood fun. I know there's a different tact that people take with the man. That's one thing, but I just want to choose to focus on, for me personally, the fact that I got to meet the man. He had the aura. Very nice and gracious. The performer, the guy that was out there trying to make people happy and make a bunch of money for himself. Sad week, but it's a memorable week in that WWE and all the companies understood the impact of the immortal Hulk Hogan and was one of the great good guys, one of the great bad guys, made two companies, and let's go. It's SummerSlam week. Cuz, what did you think of the build-up? Raw was in Detroit. It kicked off with a 10-bell salute. The second one for Hulk Hogan. Good to see Eric Bischoff, local product, Nick Hogan in town. And I just thought that, I'm thankful. It was a little bit of a buzzkill, because my daughter wanted to go. She's like, Dad, you're taking me? And I saw the ticket prices. It was average in the lower bowl was like $220. It was like $115 in the upper bowl. I said, hon, let's just watch it. Let's enjoy it. And there was no Penta. I thought the match card was pretty. It would have been cool to see AJ Styles, but I thought the match card in and of itself for a go-home show, I just felt like it didn't do much to push the SummerSlam card forward. I thought that the matches are going to be good. I just felt like the build for this SummerSlam, because of how fast it got here from WrestleMania, I don't think it was really that depth, filled with a lot of depth of storytelling. But here we are. It's SummerSlam. I'm curious what you think of the builds. And here we go. I can't wait to preview it with you.
Yeah, look, I think this is something that we have to get comfortable with Triple H. If you've noticed, the last couple go-home shows, they're just kind of there to kind of help fill out any match that didn't get on the main card. So, like on Friday Night SmackDown, you got a U.S. Women's Championship match. You'll have a different tag team match if one of the tag teams isn't being highlighted on the main card. If there is some other type of championship that's not being highlighted, it'll get highlighted on whatever week's go home show that they're a part of. So I think we have to find comfort in that. I know it's different. Usually we get a show that sends us home hot and it makes you want to pay for a pay-per-view. It's a different world. You get your pay-per-views essentially for free when you subscribe to Peacock for $7.99 a month. So they've done things a little bit different under Triple H, and it's no longer that hot go-home show. I think the hot go-home shows are usually the week before. Those are the shows where you're like, oh man, I gotta get ready for next week because it's gonna be fantastic when this pay-per-view rolls around. The show in between that week's episode and the pay-per-view, it's usually very mid. It's usually very bland. The action is great, right? Like you said, the wrestling was good. But there's usually nothing there that you're like, oh my God, I've got to go buy this pay-per-view. This is absolutely fantastic. So I thought both Monday Night Raw and SmackDown's go-home show were okay. To me, they really felt like they were placeholders for what is coming on Saturday and Sunday night. It really felt like they were placeholders for what might be coming Monday and next Friday. To me, it didn't really do anything to make me want to go. And back in the day, it was spend 30, 40, 50, $60 on a pay-per-view. These shows did nothing to do that for me. If anything, I would not be purchasing a pay-per-view this weekend based upon those shows. And I think, like I said, it's just a different shift in the way that they're doing their programming, in the way that they're doing their mindset with selling you the pay-per-views. All that being said, I think we got quite a few things that kind of came out of this week's Monday Night Raw, Friday Night SmackDown, and I do think it does carry over a little bit. I think what they do is they really highlight certain things that they really want the crowd to pay attention to, that they really want you to pay attention to. Specifically, we had some stuff going on with Seth Rollins' group on Monday Night Raw, and on Friday night, we opened with a John Cena promo, and that's going to be the main event that's going to close night 2 of SummerSlam. So I think they kind of picked and they chose the spots they really wanted to emphasize on both of these go-home shows. All that being said, we did have stuff coming out of these go-home shows, and before we get to going through the card, I wanted to get your take on us having multiple Grande Americanos. To me, this is a little bit crazy. I'm not sure what they're doing. I feel like they're trying to recreate the Spider-Man meme, but you have the original Grande Americano, Chad Gable. We're going to have some news on him and what his actual injury is a little bit later on in the show. You have him as the original, and then you had Ludwig Kaiser show up as a Grande Americano. And now you've got what looks to be Pete Dunne as another Grande Americano. To me, it's like a multiverse storyline with Grande Americanos. What's your take on this?
Yeah, look, it's a fun angle. There's just an entertainment value to it. It stinks because when you have an injury, it just lends to a bunch of swerves that they have to kind of put in when Chad Gable is, El Grande Americano. But that's kind of the purpose when you have a wrestler put on a mask and act in this character, so they can go a lot of different ways with it. So I would have liked it to not have been a comedic foil, but now that's the avenue it would have turned to. It's just going to be fun whenever they get to the end of it. It's fun. It's a comedic break in a show. It's something to provide you a little bit of a laugh and just an opportunity, at least for Ludwig Kaiser, to do something. But I'm curious to see, at least you get a little bit of intrigue. My interest level is low personally, but I think for the company, it'll be interesting to see where they play this out moving forward. But it's just, it's comedic. It's just not the thing that's at the top of my list that I'm paying attention to.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think it's something that has gone from being serious and funny to now just being something that's funny. I don't know what you do when Chad Gable gets back. And when we kind of discuss his injury, it doesn't sound like he's going to be back incredibly quickly because of what he had happened to him. So I'm not sure what the long-term plan is for this. I'm not sure what they do. What I find is with wrestling, it moves so fast.
Yeah.
Chad Gable could be on the shelf for 8-9 months, and before we know it, he's already back. And we're like, holy shit, he's been gone for 8-9 months, and they've kind of kept things going with whatever they've got going with this multiple man Grande Americano storyline. So it'll all end up working itself out. And just things move, like I said, so quickly in wrestling, and you're paying attention to so many different things. Stuff sometimes kind of seeps through and you miss it a little bit. And before you know it, a dude is back and healthy and is able to do what he has to do to help finish that storyline. So that's kind of what I anticipate is going to happen here. I kind of feel like this is just a holding pattern for whatever they plan to do with this storyline. But let's get into night 1 of SummerSlam. We've got our picks. We've got a little bit of AEW planned for you later on in the show as well. But starting and kicking things off on night 1 is Sami Zayn taking on Karrion Kross. They had a nice little interesting sit down across from each other on Monday Night Raw. Basically, Sami says, if I win, you have to admit that you were wrong. And Karrion Kross is like, if I win, you have to admit that you were right. Kind of a stale build. I felt like this was hotter 2 weeks ago. I felt like it's kind of mellowed as we've gone forward. I still think probably the best thing in this whole entire build is staring at Scarlett. But all that being said, I think Sami Zayn's got to come out the winner here. I think it'd be good for Karrion Kross to get a couple dubs underneath his belt, but I think Sami Zayn gets the win here.
I'm going the opposite way. I think this is an indicator of his contract. If you're Karrion Kross, you're like, I'm not. I know you got a contract in front of me. I'm not signing it until you tell me I get a push. He lost the first one. I think you can extend the storyline further with a win for Karrion. And so I see. I mean, listen, man. What's the purpose of a feud if you're Karrion Kross at this point? Just to keep taking the L's and putting the other guy over. I mean, he's a big star. I think something has to be moving forward a little bit in his push. If he loses, I think then if that's the idea and he's negotiating a contract and you're like, man, I'm just going to end up being a guy on the show that always loses, I think he's got to start looking at wins. Wins are important. So I'm going to put out there in the universe that the push for Karrion Kross begins now. There's world championship material in there if you just give it to him.
You know what? I like where your head's at, and I wouldn't be sad to see Karrion Kross get the win here. Our next match, Randy Orton and Jelly Roll taking on Drew McIntyre and Logan Paul. This got highlighted quite a bit on Friday Night SmackDown. Jelly Roll was attacked in a training session. Next thing you know, he shows up with an angry Randy Orton, and they run roughshod. It looked like Randy Orton got a really nice forearm shiver on Logan Paul. He then followed up with a nice punch to Drew McIntyre, who looked like he returned a pretty heavy blow to Randy Orton. Randy Orton legit looked upset and pissed in this. So if everything is working well, then I think he's doing his job there. But look, I think the good guys win this match. I think Randy Orton and Jelly Roll win. I don't think Jelly Roll shows up to just get beat on television. So I've got Randy Orton and I've got Jelly Roll winning this match.
Absolutely. Get the pop for the superstars, and I just want to see how Jelly Roll gets around. He said he broke his pinky training, so he's definitely an advocate. He got his spot, and I do think that there's opportunities for Logan Paul and Drew to get after it. Hey, Drew got back, which is good. He might have had some visa issues or whatever, but he made a video and said, hey, I'm back. Miz, you're not taking my spot. This one has a chance to be some fun aspects with some spots, and you know Randy Orton will make it fun when they win the match. So who knows? Maybe they break out into song together. You never know, but it'll be a good time for Jelly Roll. And let's just hope, first and foremost, most importantly, when these celebrities get in there, he's got to be safe. Hopefully they all come in to the match healthy and come out the same way. So Jelly Roll and Randy Orton. And now, too, it's been a couple pay-per-views now with big ones for Randy Orton where he's kind of doing the company a favor. You got to reward Randy with some meaningful, non-celebrity, non-silly, entertaining work here. He did a little bit in his return. Now moving forward the second half of the year into the end of 2025, Randy deserves the payoff for all this stuff that he's doing on the side.
What did you make of the whole visa thing? For those who don't know, Drew McIntyre posted a video of him being trapped in Scotland or in England, actually. And he was like, I can't get across. I forgot my passport. They're not going to let me. This is all due to Randy Orton and Jelly Roll. Yada, yada, yada. When I seen this, I was like, okay, cool. And it's just a way to kind of build up
something,
what you got going on and just kind of keep things hot.
Right.
At no point did I ever believe
right. And plus,
not making it.
Plus, if it was ever seriously an issue, Triple H picks up the phone, or when he's in the meeting with Donald, he'd be like, hey, let my boy in, Drew McIntyre. And President Trump would be like, okay. And then he just walks right in. President Trump might pick him up himself and be like, oh, no problem. No problem, H. Or he'll have to make a call to his mother-in-law. Hey, make this happen with your people. I know you're the education lady, but get with the immigration people and let our stuff go. It would, to me, WWE has some great relationships in politics at the moment, so I never have an issue that an entertainer from WWE can't get back to the United States.
Yep, that's true. They have connections up top. Good old Orange Band. We'll move on. Roman Reigns and Jey Uso versus Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed. Does it feel as though Braun Breaker is stepping in as the leader of Seth Rollins' group? It seems like he's taken a bit of control, and that was a very predominant storyline on Monday Night Raw. It seems as though he's kind of taken the bull by the reins, if you will, and has kind of said, hey, I got this. Follow my lead. What are your thoughts on him taking the lead in Seth Rollins' group? And is this probably part of the storyline that ends up leading to him breaking away from this faction?
Yeah, like I said, he's got Paul Heyman in his corner. Paul Heyman definitely very high on Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker. His spears are great. I just think that he's got the lineage. When you're a Steiner and you've had the early run that you've had. He's a Paul guy. He's a he's a Paul Heyman guy and a Paul Levesque guy. So you got two Pauls in your corner. When you got two Pauls in your corner and you got the look, the athleticism, the wrestling gene in you, there's no way that this guy's not going to be a main eventer and be a star moving forward. So that's the purpose of this, is to get continued success in whatever happens in the match. I'm curious to get your thoughts on what you think should happen because of the work that's being done. But the spear that was done in Detroit, Bronson Reed taking Roman Reigns' shoe, it's going to be interesting. I don't know if they need the win, but it would definitely kind of behoove the group. I just think that Roman Reigns can get in and have an appearance and get after it. But you would think that after having his shoes taken, there would be some level of retribution that needs to get done here. And I do think that the Roman Reigns character is now on that fine line of where's he at. It feels like he needs a win, but also too, it's really tough because Braun Breaker's group, I think, needs to establish themselves. So it's going to be tough, but I'm leaning. And at this point, I'm going to put out there the official prediction that I think that Roman Reigns' group is going to win, but I'm teetering because of the fact of how important, just because of how it typically goes, where if Bronson Reed takes his shoes, you don't take a man's shoes and let the man sit there sockless or shoeless out there in Detroit, which I thought was funny when people were like, why does everybody got to get robbed in Detroit? Which I thought was just a hilarious take that people had online. The IWC had fun with that. But that was a nice image. That was a cool, something unique. Take his shoes. But I think retribution has to happen, so I think Roman Reigns' group wins. But Braun Breaker, man, yeah, he should be the leader. The man has all the tools. There's no reason why he can't be the next big thing right after this run with CM Punk and Reigns and Seth Rollins. The next group is led by Braun Breaker.
Yeah, and if you look at it, right, Braun was the first guy selected by Roman Reigns. Yep. It would only make sense that he would be the pseudo de facto leader if something's not happening with Seth Rollins. It would only make sense to me. So all of that works in storyline. Seth comes back. He knows his place. He falls back into line. And I think at some point, this is what kind of unhinges him and gets him to get into a fight with Seth Rollins and leave the group. But like you said, here's the deal. The whole thing with the shoes, I think it's because Roman Reigns has signed a deal with the Jordan brand. Something that's been highlighted. I think it was probably Friday night that was highlighted, maybe Thursday. At this point, my days are kind of running together a little bit. So I think that was more of a punctuation for that. I think Roman and I think Jay get the win here, like you said. Again, I think Braun and Bronson will go out and they will get elevated, but I don't think they get the win. There's getting over and being over, and I think these guys will end up getting over. Yep. But I think Roman and Jay will just be the guys who are over in this match. So we have the WWE Women's Tag Team Championship match. We've got Raquel Rodriguez and Roxanne Perez, who have been teaming quite well since Liv has gone down with her shoulder injury, taking on Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss. This is an odd tag team. If you follow any of their stuff on any of their social medias, it's different. It's weird. On Friday night, we had an interview with Charlotte and Alexa. To me, complete polar opposites. Alexa Bliss looked very all natural. I know she was wearing some makeup. Charlotte looked very made up. And if we're being quite honest, I thought her face was going to crack if she smiled because she's had so much work done. Them two, odd pairing, but it's working. And this is the most, I guess, over Charlotte has been with a crowd in a long, long time. Is it enough to put a strap on her and pull it off of Raquel Rodriguez and Roxanne Perez, which, to be honest with you, in my estimation, it is the one thing that is making them seem incredibly important right now. How do you see this women's tag team championship match playing out?
Yeah, no, I like Raquel Rodriguez and Roxanne Perez. I like what they're doing. I like the way in which they get down. But in the end, I think this is going to be a pop-centric opportunity. I think that the belt, it's just one of those things where the belt can go back and forth, where Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss win it now. They hold it on, and then they lose it back, and then go about their merry ways, and then you can set up the feud with Alexa and Charlotte, because that's just a natural tie. You put people together, you take them apart. Now, too, just to go back a little bit, if there were to be a swerve in the previous match, I do think, now that I've watched Unreal, all 5 episodes, the creative juices get flowing. I would not be opposed.
You mean the scripted show about the other scripted show that we're filming that has a predetermined ending?
Listen, it's
going
good
to have predetermined segments.
Listen, the cat's already out of the bag.
Supposed to be
because everybody.
fruitful?
Listen, the cat's already out of the bag. Everybody's talking. Listen, there's 50 wrestling podcasts with guys that are insiders talking about wrestling. There is no more secret, so it's just a great inside look at. I just thought that all the other storyline stuff I know. I just like the scenes where the guys are sitting there and there's all these guys going, what about this idea? What about that idea? Because that's literally what you and I do. And the idea I'm throwing out is if Jay turns on Roman, you now have a continuation of the story for the next maybe year. And you could kind of tie into, hey, Paul got into Jay and said, hey, I could get you to the next level. And I think the next guy in the group would be interesting to have Jey Uso, but he's maybe not yet. But the idea is there that I thought because of the fact that, from what you see in the show of just how interesting Jey Uso could be. But creatively, it's a fun time for WWE. They can do a lot of different things. But I do see Charlotte Alexis down the road. But they win this match and they become the new women's tag team champions.
Yeah, it feels like that's the way to go, right? Because they have been surprisingly hot together. This to me felt like it was by happen chance that they put them together. It didn't seem like it was supposed to go this way. And then all of a sudden it was like, yeah, let's just see what happens. And it's been gold. And we know this. WWE does a really good job of identifying and pushing talent that gets hot immediately. These are two women who are incredibly good at what they do and are fan favorites. They're incredibly hot. Push them. Allow Raquel and Roxanne to chase. It makes sense when they chase. Heels can chase all day long, and it keeps them interesting. Faces can't chase all day long. It does not make them interesting. It makes it better when the faces are the champs and they are getting chased. So I think you're right. I think Charlotte and Alexa Bliss win this. Like I said, my big concern is it feels like those belts are the only thing that are keeping Raquel and Roxanne relevant right now. If we take the belts away, I feel like they have to be in a chase mode to stay relevant in that tag team division and just on television. If you take the belts away and you don't do anything with them, I think they will fade quickly into the background, even though they are part of the Judgment Day. So we'll see what happens there. We've got the WWE Women's Championship match. You got Tiffany Stratton versus Jade Cargill. I feel like Jade Cargill is going to win this match. I don't want Jade Cargill to win this match. I'm going to pick Tiffany Stratton, but I believe it's going to be Jade Cargill winning this match.
Yeah, no doubt. She's getting pushed. It's one of those things where Jade is somebody that's really special. The company likes her. The tools are there, and I feel like there's an opportunity where you can do some things with her for the foreseeable future. Maybe even set up a dream match at Survivor Series with the SmackDown champion. So let's see what happens, and let's get after it.
All right, I'm going to change my pick. I'm going to pick Jade Cargill because I do believe she's winning it.
Do you think it's going to be a good match? Do you think there's going to be selling? How many botches? Over, under 2 botches?
I was going to say 4, so I'm going to go over.
Oh.
Here's the thing. I think that she has done a good job. Jade has done a good job of refining some of her skills, but I find her to be still wooden on camera, and I think she's got a fantastic look. Like, she is built like an Adonis. But that can only carry you so far. And I don't think she does a great job in the ring. I think Tiffany's going to have to do a lot of the carrying. And I feel like Tiffany, as good as she is, she's still incredibly young. And that's a lot to put on somebody who is still incredibly young in the business. Remember, Tiffany Stratton was like a gymnast who got picked up in like whatever their NIL program is and like went straight to doing WWE style. It's not like she's worked on the indies and she's had to like learn. Like, her experience is like 4 years worth of experience. It's not like she's coming in as some kind of grizzled indie vet who went through the NXT version of wrestling so they can teach you how to run the ropes in WWE because it's a different type of rope and not a cable compared to other companies. It's not like that. She's still incredibly young. Even though she's on the main roster, they elevated her quickly. She's still incredibly young. Jade Cargill is still incredibly rough. Like, she hasn't shown me enough to where I'm really buying into her. So I don't think this is going to be a good match, and I think I'm going to be very, very sad to see Tiffany Stratton lose her belt to Jade Cargill, and then I've got to deal with Jade Cargill promos for the next, I don't know, couple of months, which is going to be upsetting. Anyways, we move on. World Heavyweight Championship match. This is our main event for night one. You've got Gunther defending against CM Punk. Does CM Punk get his championship? Does it happen at SummerSlam? You can make the argument Gunther only got that belt put on him just so he could face Bill Goldberg a couple of weeks ago at Saturday night's main event. We had all the fallout from that, and that wasn't necessarily great. Is this where CM Punk takes the title off him? Would kind of make sense that he'd be that transitional champion. You give him a second run as a champion so you can kind of boost those numbers. Takes on Bill Goldberg, beats him, only to come back and lose to CM Punk. And Gunther can go off and do something else for a little bit while CM Punk is now your champion. What are your thoughts on Punk getting the win here?
CM Punk, the summer of Punk, he's earned it. I think that the crowd would love it. It ends night one on a high note. Because, well, let's use common sense. I think night two ends on a sour note, and night one ends on a positive note. So it makes all the sense in the world to get after it. And Saturday night, CM Punk, the Saturday night's main event, right? CM Punk, Mr. Saturday Night. That's a great nickname. Mr. Saturday Night, CM Punk. Main events, all the big time shows on Saturday. He wins it, he celebrates, and caps off, I think, a year that he can reward himself and kind of shed all the nastiness that he had with wrestling, in that he got to main event Saturday night at WrestleMania. He gets to be on SummerSlam, and he'll take, I think this one might be just one of those ones where he takes a lot of abuse and wins, and his body's all beaten up and all, he should take like 200 chops and get after it. And I think you can also highlight his toughness. And this one can be a psychological match. Doesn't have to have a lot of high spots. They can beat each other to a pulp, and CM Punk can just stand up there in a way, a mini Hulk up in some kind of way, where Gunther's just beating the shit out of him, and then in return he just keeps getting back up more, and then another clothesline, and then a power bomb, and he just keeps fighting, and then boom, you get the. I don't know if the visual of CM Punk picking up these big dudes and giving them the go to sleep. I think you do something different, something unique. Get him, does he use his finisher? Maybe he can as a sign of his strength, but then you don't want all his backbones to get ripped to shreds. Whatever you got to do to get after it and get the title, CM Punk wins and caps off a nice summer.
I think if you're going to give this man a championship, when do you do it? It's now or never.
Yeah.
So it's CM Punk. You're not going to have him face John Cena. You're not going to have him beat John Cena. You're not going to have him beat Cody Rhodes. When do you give this guy a championship? It has to be now. I think CM Punk wins this belt, beats Gunther. Gunther, like I said, is your transitional champion, and we just move on. Let's move on to night two. Speaking of moving on, we've got a tables, ladders, and chairs match for a tag team championship. The Wyatt Six, Dexter Lumis and Joe Gacy versus DIY, Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa versus the Street Profits, Montez Ford and Angelo Dawkins versus Motor City Machine Guns, my favorite, Alex Shelley and Chris Sabin versus Fraxium, Nathan Frazier and Axiom versus Andrade and Ray Phoenix. Wow, this is going to be crazy. This is going to be a lot. I hope they give them a ton of time. Who do you see winning this match?
I feel like Fraxium's over. I feel like the Street Profits are over. There's a lot of teams that could win this. It's great. Motor City Machine Guns always are in the mix. It's great, right? This is truly a toss-up. But I think the best team is Street Profits. I feel like they took a turn. I don't know. It's one of those deals where any one of these teams can win. I'm truly conflicted. But in these kind of cases, maybe you go with a new team that you can kind of get over. So give me Fraxium. I just think that there's an opportunity there. If not, I would probably rank Street Profits second and Machine Guns in the mix too. But I'm just going to go Fraxium because they're new. You get a chance to get them over. And all the other teams are established. They don't need the win. I think the group that's the least experienced needs some attention. And a big win gets you moving forward quickly with what they brought to the table.
Well, KJ is picking Andrade and Ray Phoenix, so we're going to go with Andrade and Ray Phoenix. Again, if you're going to ever give these guys a belt, when do you give them a belt? I think you give them a belt now, so we're going to go Andrade and Ray Phoenix. Probably wrong, but the baby picks Andrade and Ray Phoenix, so that's what we're going with. Our next match, Steel cage match for the United States Championship. You've got Solo versus Jacob Fatu. You got to see this a little bit highlighted on Friday night. At the end of the night, there was a steel cage that came down, trapped Big Jim and Solo and his family tree members basically started to run roughshod on Big Jim. All of a sudden, the cage kind of slowed down just before it closed in the ring, and Jacob Fatu got in there and kind of ran roughshod as Solo looked for a way to escape. Look, man, I think Jacob Fatu wins his belt back here. I could see something silly happening with whether it be what the guy who used to be known as Hikuleo or any of the Tongans. I could see it going sideways there, but I'm going to go with Jacob Fatu getting his belt back. There's money to be made with that man.
Could we, for the 19th pay-per-view in a row, not predict a new Tongan, a new Samoan to debut? There could be some hijinks and hilarity.
There could be.
Right. Yeah, we just say it every pay-per-view. So it could happen, but you're right. The money to be made in WWE it's just crazy to think of Jacob Fatu. The money is just to be made. You want to look at him. You want to see his entrance. Total package. Jacob Fatu wins it and gets even more over. Superstar in the making.
All right, our next match is a no disqualification, no count out for the Women's Intercontinental Championship. Becky Lynch, Lyra Valkyria. I think Becky Lynch is going to retain her belt. I think Bayley's going to play a part in this. Mm-hmm. They did an interview with Bayley backstage, and she seemed really down. She's like, I don't know where I got to go. I wasn't there for WrestleMania. I'm not on SummerSlam. I don't know what's going to happen. I think the no DQ allows her to turn heel again and to attack Lyra Valkyria. Also, Lyra Valkyria, I feel like they've got to do something different with her. We talked about it months ago. It's not getting over. She cut a promo where she fumbled through her lines. She got her days and dates mixed up. It wasn't good. The crowd totally checked out. You could tell the Detroit crowd was like, what the hell is going on? She is trash. They've got to do something different with her. I don't know what they're going to do with her, but they've got to reinvent this character. The hoo owl lady, they've got to do something else because it's just not working. I've got Becky Lynch retaining her belts.
Yeah, this is probably the least interested match I'm interested in. Least investment, least amount I care. But yeah, Becky Lynch probably wins it.
Okay. Our Intercontinental Championship match, we got Dominic Mysterio defending against AJ Styles. How do you see this playing out? A long time ago, you used to tell me if AJ Styles wrestles a match, never bet against AJ Styles. Does that hold true for you?
I would love it, but I want to go with the surprise. I just think Dom is the champion, and AJ Styles' role is to put over Dom. It's going to be great. This is just perfect for the role that AJ's in right now. You could set it off where AJ wins it and then Dom is just pissed and he chases it for the next couple months. But the name of the game is to establish bigger stars, and this is a perfect Intercontinental Championship match. I'm intrigued by this is the one match where I'm intrigued by the match more than the outcome, and I just think that these guys can put on a show and Dominic can continue to get over by getting wins. You can't give these guys belts and then just take it off of them. I think you establish the Intercontinental title it's the Workman's Championship, and the Workman has to win matches. And it's just great because I think in this match, Dom gets over even more as a wrestler because of the work that he does with AJ Styles. It's going to be great, and I would love it to see if AJ wins it. So I want to go with I'd rather be surprised than right. Dominic wins it.
Yeah, look, I think Dom wins it. Can you believe? Wow. You go back 2-3 years ago, we were talking about Dominic Mysterio and how he needed to be better at everything.
Yep.
And now he did it. Continental Championship. Yes, he put the work in, and he is one of the highlights of Monday Night Raw. He is the highlight of Judgment Day. I think he is the guy who really shines in Judgment Day. Like, there's always like that one guy who could break away at any time. I feel like it's Dominic Mysterio. It's really weird to say that. I think he has done a fantastic job getting himself in a position where he is now a guy who you could take serious in a main event. He put the work in. He's done the work. I think you're right. I think this match against AJ Styles goes on to show you how far he has come, and he shows you he can do stuff in the ring that will blow your mind. He has been absolutely fantastic. I think he retains his belt. Now, do I think it's legal? I don't know. I could see hooks and crooks, and I could see all the crazy stuff happening here. But no matter how you cut it, I think Dom retains his belt. I think AJ is there to give him the rub and help put him over. I can see this being an absolutely fantastic match. We've got the Women's World Championship match. We've got Naomi taking on Io Sky, taking on Rhea Ripley. This one's hard to call. It really felt like when we were leaving Monday Night Raw that it was Rhea's belt and Naomi was just holding it. But then you look back, it makes no sense. Naomi just got that belt. Why would you take it off of her? It makes zero sense to me that you would take it off of her. I think what you see happen in this match is you've got Rhea and Io get so wrapped up in each other that it becomes easy pickings for Naomi and she retains her belt.
Absolutely. Naomi's going to be a classic match. The entrances are going to be sweet. It's going to be a lot of high spots, and Naomi gets some credibility, just like Io did at WrestleMania. When she won, Naomi gets it by winning at SummerSlam.
Absolutely. And then it brings us to our main event of Sunday night. It's a street fight, which is probably the least interesting type of match that I wanted to see for the undisputed WWE Championship. You've got John Cena defending against Cody Rhodes. Initially, I was thinking we were going to get a double swerve at SummerSlam. We were going to get a heel Cody Rhodes. We were going to get a babyface John Cena. Instead, WWE throws us a curveball, and they give us a face John Cena cutting a promo on Friday Night SmackDown, which had me screaming, "No! Why would you do it now? Save me! Surprise me! Don't do this now. Give it to me on Sunday. I want to go to bed happy. Give me a face John Cena with a Cody Rhodes who is bloody and turning heel and leaving with the championship, and have face John Cena chasing him. Give me this." Instead, they gave me face John Cena, which means we're probably going to get The Rock showing up at SummerSlam and Cody Rhodes turning heel. If you notice, this is the first time Cody Rhodes has not come out in a suit. Cody Rhodes came out in a track suit. Normally, he does not do that. He is suited and booted. So I think that kind of tells you that we're leaning in a different direction. It's little nuances, little small things. John Cena came out, looked very much like John Cena. Also came out with his music blaring. So I think we've got the face John Cena. I think we're going to get a heel Cody Rhodes. I think John Cena loses his belt because of some nefarious actions from The Rock. So I'm going to go with Cody Rhodes on this. How do you see this one playing out?
No, absolutely not. This is how you can tell the story for the next year. The winner of the match is going to be John Cena, and you clearly are going to see a momentum swing with Cody, and then you have to have Travis Scott because I think they put that shit out there.
Travis Scott is like,
listen, they said he's on the outs. I think
it's not good.
I think
the issue with Travis Scott is like he's not. It doesn't.
Listen, he's not a wrestler.
He wants to work with him.
He's not wrestling. He just has to show up when his music plays. Look at the reaction he got at WrestleMania. It was loud boos. Him and The Rock have to come out together. They start whooping the ass of Cody Rhodes, and then who comes out to make the save? Or you think Randy Orton comes out, and he comes out, inserts himself in this match. We all think, all right, he's going to save his friend. There were the times when Randy was in it, and then Randy turns heel. Randy is the reason that cost. I think you can squeeze some more out of Cody Rhodes being a face. No, John Cena's a heel. You do not do that, because if John Cena, according to your plan, it would have been the single worst. You can't have that being talked about. It would have been the single worst in the history of professional wrestling heel run of all time. Of all time, to have a guy pretend to be a heel, then just turn to say, because that's not me. No. That is BS. And you can have it where The Rock's like, it doesn't have to be Randy Orton. It could be somebody close to Cody. It could be one of his friends. It could be, hey, Ricky Starks. I mean, that's money. If they put their heads together and go, hey, if Cody interjects in the story in the meeting, he goes, oh my God, let me get my friend, Ricky Starks. Ricky Starks runs in and boom, turns on Cody. Everybody's like, okay, well, you could sell it a little bit. Betrayal, all the stuff, the footage, you can tie in long-term booking. Somebody close to Cody turns on him, and I think it should be Randy, because then Cody fights back. The face ends up defeating the heel eventually. The last person that I clearly see John Cena fighting, it can't be nobody else. There's nobody worthy at the moment to stand across John Cena in his last match than Cody Rhodes. Cody Rhodes wins it. He overcomes, and then he gets retribution, and the conglomerate, Cena goes off. Rock's boy, if he's still in the mix, is Randy Orton. You tell that story maybe at WrestleMania, and you can tell 5 months, or you can get it out of the way quickly at the Royal Rumble. So to me, you don't put John Cena in the conversation of worst heel ever. You put him in the conversation of the best heel ever, and best heels add to the group. Add somebody. Make the next star. Could be Randy Orton. Could be Ricky Starks. Could be Ethan Page. Could be somebody. Could be Trick. Could be anybody that you think is next that Rock wants to pick. And you swerve everybody, and you send the Doc home happy as a winner. And the winner, and the baddest heel of all time of the summer, John Cena. And everybody standing tall. The Rock booed. Travis Scott booed. You got to get more boos, because that's the job. The job is to get boos. Make this heel run special. Swerve everybody. Get after it. But now, do you have the swerve of the summer? And if it goes the way Adam says it, if Cody Rhodes wins it, does a Seth Rollins cash in tonight, Sunday night? Does he cash in and swerve everybody that his injury was fake? I'm putting that out there. I don't think it happens, because I think you can let this play out further, maybe even the next night, and make it happen on Monday. I don't know, but there's something in the air. Something in the air here that's going down. Does Seth return and play a part? Maybe that happens where CM Punk wins it. I would probably predict if CM Punk wins it, maybe Seth comes in and cashes and takes it. Imagine, because that's probably the best way to go. Now that I'm saying it,
way to do it.
Yeah, CM Punk wins it. He's celebrating. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 beats. Everybody's clapping. Seth's music plays, and he takes it from him with a Vic. Yeah, that's probably what's going to happen. But we still get credit for CM Punk winning. But on the other end, John Cena's got to be the ultimate heel, in my opinion. John Cena wins it, baby. Rock standing tall. Let's go. I'm excited.
So what's the point of him doing a promo like he does on Friday night, where he's a complete babyface?
Because that's what Cody.
To me, that doesn't make sense.
Cody said, I want to fight the real John Cena, because Cody is at heart, baby faces in wrestling are idealistic. They like things. They just want things that sometimes are in their wrong interest. And John Cena's like, okay, the heel's job is to play into, in the history of wrestling psychologically, the heel's job is to pick apart the weakness of the babyface who's idealistic, and the weakness of the babyface. John Cena
should have kicked him in the nuts when they were cheersing with the beers. At that point,
you could have.
You said it, and you've laid the trap.
You could have.
Got him there. But you didn't do that. He's going into this match as a babyface. It doesn't make any damn sense.
He's going into it as a babyface to trick.
This could be
Cody
shit
Rhodes.
Booking. Like, this could be like legit shit booking.
I think that's a legendary booking if they do it that way, because you look at it, you have a big show.
I think the way you've got this laid out is incredibly interesting, right?
Yeah.
But I don't know. To me, the whole thing with John Cena turning heel was incredibly rushed, and I don't think it was done as well as it could have been. I thought it was done well, but it could have been done better. And now we're here, and all of a sudden you want John Cena to show up on a Friday night SmackDown. He cuts a babyface promo. He's going into SummerSlam as a babyface, taking on a babyface Cody Rhodes. Like, to me, that's just bad booking. That's just poor. What you should have done is you should have had John Cena come out on Friday night, and he should have cut a very melancholy promo. It would have been very whatever. And then in the middle of the match, the hot mics pick stuff up all the time. You could have had John Cena having a babyface turn where he's like, I don't want to ruin wrestling. I don't want to win this way. I don't want to do this. And you could have Cody Rhodes flipping the script, being like, this is the way it has to be done. I have to take you out, and it's by any means necessary. And Cody Rhodes does the underhanded shit, whether it's a crotch shot, whether it's a belt to the face, whether it's whatever, whether it's signing a deal with the devil, when the devil happens to be The Rock, and The Rock comes out. That, to me, is a much more impactful, powerful story. I feel like the way they've set this up is absolutely poor. I don't want to see Travis Scott. I don't need to see Travis Scott. I do like your idea of Randy Orton coming out and being the guy who turns on Cody Rhodes. I think that could be absolutely fantastic, because, like you said, there's a lot of meat on that bone. But what do you do with John Cena then? You've only got I think 30 more dates. No, probably 20 some more dates with John Cena. You only have John Cena, I think, up
In December,
until
December.
okay. So you've got like 4 months left of John Cena. Like you need to utilize that as much as possible. So what are we doing? I think your way, I think it's perfect, right? But I think you forget one of the main cogs, and that's John Cena. Because what do you have John Cena doing? It seems like John Cena is floating on a buoy out in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean, and we don't really know what we're going to end up doing with John Cena. I think you tie up a lot of loose ends, but you leave one of the main ones out there. To me, again, I feel like the booking for this hasn't been great, and now we're in a bit of a spot. I do like your idea of John Cena retaining. I think that probably makes the most sense. Again, I want a heel Cody Rhodes and a babyface John Cena, so that's why I'm going Cody Rhodes.
Okay.
To win this. I just again, I feel like we're trying to make the best out of stuff that wasn't done great.
I like it. We differ just a little bit, just on Karrion Kross and most notably the John Cena match, which I like because that'll set the tone as to what happens, and that's a great question. What happens with John Cena? You got to find baby faces, whether it be LA Knight, guys that want to take their shot. John Cena just goes with the simple "I'm the best here" and who's next, and I think you divert a little bit until you reconnect with Cody Rhodes. That's a good question though. That is the best question to ask. Is what would happen with John Cena as a result of continue being heel. But SummerSlam 2 nights. Let's see how it plays out. Doc trails Adam 5-4 in calling the card. I'm curious, cuz what do you think of the week of AEW? What were some of the one or two things that stood out? I just thought that getting after it again the last couple weeks with Hangman and Jon Moxley was a little bit not needed. I just felt like Hangman needed to kind of divert to something else. And I think that what we're seeing, in my humble opinion, is we're starting to see the development of some of the other stars with Nick and Matt Jackson getting into it and having some nice run. I like what MJF is doing, and I'm intrigued by what Christian Cage is doing. But unfortunately, the way in which that segment went down was awful because the chair shot, the concerto, was terrible. It was produced bad. It looked rough. It looked like the guys were scared to hit him.
It was a bad promo too.
Yeah,
the promo was not great.
Yeah, exactly. So it took a little bit of sting away from that. But in the end, I just think MJF and the title picture is really interesting. But I thought AEW has been building upon their momentum, but not to the degree in which I would have thought coming on the heels of your best pay-per-view. You got to highlight Paige more with some new feuds. And I'm not into the Death Riders anymore. It's like, I just feel like they need to kind of take a step back. Once your champion loses, you got to kind of take a step back and not continuously try to pick the scab of a championship rematch. And then, I just thought that AEW could have hit a grand slam with their build moving forward after the pay-per-view. I just thought that they built to the pay-per-view, a great pay-per-view, and I just don't feel the momentum coming off of the heels of a defining win for Adam Page.
Yeah, look, I didn't like immediately getting back into matches with Jon Moxley after you beat Jon Moxley in a bloody-ass Texas death match. To me, it didn't make sense. I felt like Jon Moxley needed to go away for a little bit. Like, you just got taxed and you lost your championship. You needed to go hide for at least a week, maybe two, to then follow it up with a tag match and then follow it up with what was a really great match on free television. Didn't necessarily make sense to me. I think at this moment in time, this has to be done. Like, Hangman Page has to go face somebody new. Jon Moxley can go face somebody new, and we can kind of go our separate ways. If we need to come back later on, we can. But for right now, Jon Moxley needs to go away. You need to find another bad guy for Hangman Page to fight, whether it's MJF or it's anybody else. That's what you got to do. Like, I don't feel like AEW has done a really good job of highlighting or creating big baddies. Like, you had the Death Riders and you had everybody involved in the Death Riders, and then it was a dramatic fall off from there. You had MJF doing some weird stuff with the Hurt Syndicate. He's now out of the Hurt Syndicate. He's supposed to be a major bad guy. Okay, cool. Like, to me, he doesn't even feel like he's a threat for Hangman Page's belt at this time. There doesn't really feel like there's anybody who's a threat for Hangman Page's belt at this time. So I guess maybe that's why they panicked and they went with Jon Moxley after Hangman Page beat Jon Moxley. So you've got to move these two far away from each other. And if you want, let them come back later on. But Jon Moxley needs to go away for a little bit. Death Riders need to lie quiet for a little bit. It's like when you're a beaten dog, you take your tail and you run and you kind of go hide in a corner for a couple of hours. I kind of need that with the Death Riders right now. And I need Hangman Page to kind of go and just kind of run roughshod over whomever, wherever in this company. And if he's got to go outside the company, remember, they're allowed to do that. Go to New Japan. You got Forbidden Door coming up. Fight somebody there. Like, make that interesting. Go there, come here, whatever you got to do, make it interesting. I'm just happy that this needs to be over. And I think the other big thing kind of coming out of this week with AEW was Dustin Rhodes and his TNT Championship. We had talked about this previous when we had the All In pay-per-view. It really felt like it was set up for Kyle Fletcher to win that off of Adam Cole. 19 days after that, Dustin Rhodes ends up losing that TNT Championship to Kyle Fletcher on an episode of Collision. Why the hell would you even put it on him in the first place? Like,
well, that's the definition because of cheap pop. That's what it is. It's like, well, you had an injury. Let's just give a what do you call it? Ceremonial win to a guy and let him cry. And then it was just similar to Matt Cardona winning the Intercontinental title only to lose it the next day. So that's what it was. It was ceremonial. That was it. It had no meaning. It sucks too. It really sucks.
I mean, like, that's a dude who re-signed with you. That's a dude who is really a legend, right? He's done a lot of great stuff in WCW. His most iconic character was in WWE as Goldust. And this is the guy who had an opportunity to go and wrestle with his brother in WWE and chose to stay with you.
But he's just a mind. He's just a mind. He's more backstage development. Glue guy. In-ring performer. They killed the character. There's nothing there. There's no intrigue. He's literally taking on the role of, I'm the 19th best guy on the roster. When you need me, call me. But pick my brain whenever you need to look at storyline. Like, just take basically, it's nostalgia. You got a Rhodes in your company. You can kind of pick his brain on what he thinks. And I do think he's probably a trusted confidant of Tony and somebody that can basically be a very, very light Undertaker to control the locker room.
Yeah, you're probably 100% right there. What was your show of the week this week before we get into some news and notes?
Still, Raw was in Detroit. It's really cool to see. I felt like the CM Punk angle was cool. The promo battle was nice to see. It was just a Jey Uso match was okay. It was cool just to see the atmosphere there at Detroit. Detroit, man, there's a bunch of rich ass people. You sell out the place where the average ticket's $300. My God, it was expensive. I was just like, oh my God, I can't pay $500 to take the kid.
WWE and TKO have just jacked the prices up,
dude. And no Penta. I would have been really bummed out because that was the only when it was announced that Raw was coming, the only entrance I really wanted to see was Penta's. But you have some good matches. You have opportunities there. The storylines were moved along. So I think Raw was a show of the week.
All right. I agree with you. I think Raw was the best show this week. I felt like AEW was kind of ho-hum. I felt like SmackDown was kind of, like I said, a place setter. You said felt like Raw was the better place setter out of those two shows. So, all right. You ready for some news and notes?
Hit me with this week's professional wrestling news and notes. Unfortunately, I know something sad's going to hit it, but what made your list?
We'll start with that. Wrestling legend passed away last week. Last week on Thursday, July 24th in the afternoon, word started to spread that the leader of the Hulkamaniacs had passed away. WWE legend Hulk Hogan, real name Terry Bollea, passed away at the age of 71. Bollea was one of WWE's most iconic stars, with Hulkamania running wild in the 1980s. I know he had an impact on you. He had massive impact on me. He made his pro wrestling debut in 1977, ultimately finding his way to the WWE. Back then, it was the WWF in 1979. It was Vince McMahon who gave Bollea the name Hulk Hogan ahead of his WWF debut in November 17th episode of Championship Wrestling. Hogan went on to hold the WWE WWF Championship 6 times. He won the 1990-1991 Royal Rumble matches and had the WWE Tag Team Championship reign alongside Edge, Adam Copeland in 2002. Hogan was inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame twice as an individual in 2005 and as part of the NWO faction in the class of 2020. Speaking at a press conference on that Thursday afternoon, Clearwater Police Officer Major Nate Burnside shared officer details regarding Hogan's death, saying, just before 10 a.m. today, Clearwater Fire and Rescue, along with Clearwater Police Department, responded to the house in the 1000 block of El Dorado Avenue for a medical-related call. It was discovered at that time that Hulk Hogan also was experiencing a serious medical-related issue. Personnel provided medical treatment at the time and transported Hogan to Morton Plant Hospital, where he died at 11:17 a.m. Clearwater Police Department is conducting a death investigation, which it's standard in these types of cases. There's no signs of foul play or suspicious activity related to this call for the service at this time. So now a news outlet named Page Six ended up obtaining Hogan's medical records after his death. And Hogan's death was said to be due to acute myocardial infarction, also known as a heart attack, with Hogan previously having a history of AFib, which is a heart condition characterized by an irregular and often rapid heart rate. The records also revealed that Hogan had a history of leukemia CLL, a type of cancer that affects the white blood cells. This was something that was not previously revealed to the public. Now, the same day as Hogan's death, Vince McMahon was involved in a very bad car crash. According to TMZ, the incident took place around 9 a.m. in Connecticut on Thursday, July 24th, hours before the news broke publicly of Hogan's passing that day. Per TMZ, a crash report stated that McMahon's Bentley rammed into the back of a BMW and collided with a wooden median guardrail. The debris then flew onto the side of the road, and was hit by a Ford Fusion traveling in the opposite direction. All three drivers were said to be wearing their seatbelts, and no one was injured as a result of the accident, per the report. TMZ's report states that McMahon was issued a misdemeanor summons for reckless driving and following too closely, resulting in an accident, and he will have to appear in court later next month. And finally, Chad Gable confirms his injury in a recent interview at a Minnesota Twins game. Gable confirmed the serious nature of his injury that had him written off TV. WWE star confirmed that he had suffered a torn rotator cuff. Gable was recently written off of WWE television following Money in the Bank, with Penta attacking him backstage and hitting him with a sacrifice arm breaker on his arm. The reason for the attack was due to Gable being sidelined with a legitimate injury. Gable has now confirmed the status of that injury. Gable was interviewed for Twins.tv at the Minnesota game, where he confirmed that he was currently sidelined with that rotator cuff injury following his absence from television. And if you know anything about a rotator cuff injury, they are incredibly difficult to bounce back from. They take quite a bit of rehab. Now, these guys do get fantastic rehab, but it usually takes close to a year for you to come back from that injury and to get the strength back in that arm and get the flexibility back in that shoulder. So it'll be interesting to see how long Gable is sidelined for. But that's going to do it for this week's wrestling news and notes.
Make sure you follow my guy, Nasely, Adam Strozinski, at Adam RSTROZ. Follow us at Detroit Podcast. Thank you so much for your committed engagement, listenership to the Detroit Sports Podcast as we cover the Michigan sport, as we cover Michigan athletics, Lions, Tigers, Pistons, Wings, professional wrestling. I'm excited for SummerSlam weekend. I'm taking it in as a fan. I definitely highly recommend the Unreal show. I don't have any issue. No personal matter, no opinion on the fact that he's doing it. I think, and there's more episodes coming. The teaser at the end is more episodes are coming. It's a behind-the-scenes look at WWE. It's meant for the audience that doesn't watch it. It's meant for those that don't know how this stuff works. And so it's just relentless. And you just feel for Triple H because it's just a never-ending huge ball of work that he's got to do 365, 7 days a week. But he's got some help. There are some characters in the writing room that you're just like, oh, the early part was cool to see Abyss kind of apologizing for his car. And the interesting part, too, is to see how when the match is going on, the producers are calling the moves beforehand to the truck to help the shot get made. I think it's really interesting. Triple H did the rounds, too. Cody Rhodes made some noise, too, because in that he said that he kind of talked a little bit on the Ringer podcast about some of the fallout with AEW. So a lot of great content outside the ring covering the world of sports and wrestling, and it's just ever evolving, and it's really cool to see the insiders talking. A lot of great shows, a lot of great content in the world of professional wrestling. But for me, you're absolutely right. The death of Hulk Hogan was sad. I definitely liked all the content that shared all his entrances, the returns that he had, the memorable WrestleMania 18, which is one of the greatest WrestleMania matches of all time. Basically, the legacy is the fact that without Hulk Hogan, there is no big time sports entertainment. There is no massive reception for the entire sport. And so for that, we thank Hulk Hogan, the performer, and we thank the efforts that he did to bring wrestling to the masses and the work that he did to sacrifice his body. We always thank the performers, 50 surgeries, really sacrificing the stuff that he did. He was a 300-pound man that would lift his leg up and have to fall on his tailbone night after night after night after night. And he did it for big money, but there's a sacrifice there. And so for that, Doc and Jock Wrestling Podcast thanks Hulk Hogan for his contributions to the world of professional wrestling. And as you know, cuz, you know it, when you're NWO for life. Let's talk next week on the Doc and Jock Wrestling Podcast.